The seniors threw a party down the end of Dutton Road. It was almost cold enough to snow. None of us could drive then, so we had to get a ride in the back of someone's GTO. She was in the keg line with a yellow plastic cup. It's like I'd never seen a girl before. Puffy leather jacket and a healthy head of hair. With the hair she was 6'4". I recognized her face right away. She was the town crotch. She was good to go anytime. She was the town crotch, but I loved her like she was mine. There's a lot of things I don't remember now. I remember the town crotch, and I remember the town crotch. I had a pint of SoCo in the pocket of my coat. You can hardly taste the alcohol. Watched her from a distance, but I never said a word. I was young and I felt so small. I was no one then. Who was I? She was the town crotch. She was good to go anytime. She was the town crotch, and I loved her like she was mine. There's a lot of things I don't remember now. I remember the town crotch. Yeah, I remember the town crotch. Stood around and drank a lot and leaned against the cars. Tried to beat the winter, made it just under the wire. Got drunk and loud under 1,000 million stars. Someone played Steve Miller, someone set some stuff on fire. The cops came by to bust us, so we left the beer and ran. My head hurt and I couldn't find my ride. She pulled up in a Gremlin and she rolled the window down. She said, "Hey kid, get inside." Then she asked my name, drove me home. She was the town crotch. She was good to go anytime. She was the town crotch, but I loved her like she was mine. There's a lot of things I don't remember now, but I remember the town crotch. I remember the town crotch. I remember the town crotch.
Hello, everybody. It was The Town Crotch by Jonathan Colton. I didn't really know what to play, so I just threw on a song that stuck in my head. Today, we're gonna attempt, hear me out, we're gonna attempt a little bit of Apex Legends. Hot new game on the market. Played a little bit earlier. If you don't know, I've been having some real troubles with Apex recently. Real weird. Keep getting blue screen of death every once in a while during a match. Hopefully that doesn't happen. If my stream suddenly goes dark, you can probably guess why. But also I've been having internet issues today, and that's annoying. It doesn't seem to be affecting my stream yet, so that's good. But other than that, I think we'll just jump into it. Boom. Apex. Don't know why I'm on Octane. I haven't played Fuse yet this season. I think we're gonna really grind today and play some Fuse for a couple hours. I think that'll be fun. Grenado Tornado. Party Crasher. That's new. Okay, let me ready up for that. Let me send a tweet out to my Twitter followers. We're gonna roll. It'll be fun. Gonna have a good time. Get me out of studio mode, please. Alrighty. Oh, and I kind of want to move this up a little bit more. It was bothering me. Oh, fuck. I fucked it up. Is that right? Nope. Is that right? Yeah. There we go. Nope. Almost. There we go. That's perfect. Okay. Audio's fine, I think. Ain't made much progress, I'll be honest. I haven't really been playing much. I don't know what that's a result of. Who knows? Doesn't really matter too much. I'm gonna like cock this down, cock this up, so it's mostly just mic in frame. Then again, I could probably bring it just down here, like barely in frame, and it'll still pick me up. Fuse! Oh my god, I haven't played Fuse in so long. Crazy. Maybe just like this. Maybe we'll just keep it right there. I don't need to like keep it right on my face. That being said, it is quieter. Kind of like it better up here. Hello, hello, hello. Whatever. I don't know. Doesn't matter too much. 201 arena skills. I should be. Oh, I am playing arenas. Soju Black Rose. Okay. Sick. Sick. What is my? Oh, my mouse is doing this again. Oh no, we're good. We're good. We're good. Okay. And there have been some changes too. This is on Olympus. Oh, this little area. That's cool. I haven't been on this map. Bear with me as I get warmed up and remember how to play Fuse and remember how to play Apex and remember how to play arenas. Bear with me. Alright. Hands are sweaty. I don't even know really why hands are sweaty. Oh, can I reload for Christ's sake? Oh, hi. Okay. Where are you? Oh, you're over here. There you go. Nice. Wanna pick me up? Thank you, good sir. Beautiful. Ah, damn it. That's annoying. I believe in you. My belief was misplaced. That's okay. It's a warm-up. I want to do something a little more familiar, I think. Can I... Not quite. I'll do... Lock. Alright. Sure. I don't think it matters too much either way. Oh, I like this skin, I forget. Yeah. Deep touch of paquette. Let's go the other way. Okay, I guess we're going up middle. Oh, I should have fucking gone blue. I'm with 2x, that's annoying. Where are they at? There they are. Very unfamiliar with this map. Kind of fucking with me, I'll be honest. Hello? Oh, come on! God damn, my fucking punch doesn't land and I can't get up my cluster. Oh! So out of practice. I'm fused. That was annoying. Ah, they were so low, too. One Season 1 Apex mode. God damn. It's annoying. Safe to say this is a wash. That's okay. Didn't we get... I think we got week 3 objectives, too. This might be a comeback. Doubtful. It might be. Fuck it. Actually, I think I need to do damage with ARs.
Give it all you got, mate.
Go flatline. And... PK. Sure. Sure.
Yeah, nah, you did good. Actually gooder. That's a true blue.
All right. Do not know this map. Gotta familiarize myself with it. Ooh, there we go. There's our 2x. Beautiful spray. Oh my god. Hit him once. That was a bad cluster. I'm about to die. Kinda missed me, to be honest. Oh, hi. Bro! Oh my god, I can't hit a shot to save my goddamn life. You see that whole ass fucking clip? I hit him like once. That was crazy. That was fucking terrible. It's okay. Like I said, it's a warm-up. Even though I played earlier today, it's still a warm-up. Actually, I kind of want myself... I do kind of want myself over here. Instead. Let me just... center... vertically. Yeah, there we go. Alright, pretty terrible. Pretty terrible showing. That's okay. It was actually god awful. Never mind. Alright. Should I just hop into some ranked? Probably not. Oh, I actually still need to be doing... I'll just keep going arenas. Oh, but it's... Olympus. I'll do a rank game real quick. Fusey. Oh, that was quick. No such luck, I guess.
Some were born to run. Others have a higher purpose.
It's so annoying that they changed the layout. I'm so used to just auto-selecting fuse. Oh. It's not screwed in.
We're together.
There we go.
Almost together. No faffing about, fellas. Let's bloody do this.
Weird. Okay. Sick. Let's bloody do this. Wait a second.
Introducing your champion.
Follow my path to win.
Okay. I will. Not.
Hold on, fellas. I never did finish Jump Master
Where
training.
are we dropping, boys?
Let's land this bird right there.
Sure. I'm tempted to go barometer, but that's gonna be hot. And I don't want hot. I want calm. Not looking for KP. I'm looking to not get dicked on. That's really it. We go to the ship. I will. Too late. Oh, it's been so long since I played Fuse. Oh, is that one of the... That is one of the things. I think there's another one. Do they spawn it? No, there's no way they spawn in random spots. You seem to be alone. That's good. Sure.
First blood. Well, someone's been a rascal.
Oh, I forgot how to play Fuse. I need so many grenades. Sick. Weird. Alright. I will admit, heavy's been seeming to be the way to go. Ooh, I kind of want a hemlock and something other than a sentinel. Like that. Shatter caps. I'll go this way. Don't need that anymore. I'll keep that. See if I can get some stuff out of it. Alrighty. That works too. Oh shit, I forget all these fucking things don't use that. Maybe I'll pick up a car instead.
Evo shield here. Level 2.
Oh, see me around. Nothing super useful, folks. I really kind of want to run with the Sentinel, but I don't trust myself to hit my shots, if I'm being totally 100,000% honest. God damn.
Rings close and you still got
Can't
it.
find the weapons I want. That's annoying. Hello. Thank you.
Evo shield here. Level 2.
We're all spread out.
Yeah, I know we're all spread out. We're okay.
Rings just a little further.
It's not terribly
5
far.
on the clock.
And we're alone. We have time to loot in peace. Ooh. Sure. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna do this. Gonna run R99. There's the hemlock. Oh, actually, you know what? That works. Did I not have any attachments for that? That's crazy. Wild.
Spoiler alert. I found the next ring. Check your maps.
Okay. Okay, you know what? We're doing alright.
Range shrinks in 10 seconds. We're close.
Wingy.
New kill leader uploaded.
New kill leader. They can have it.
I don't have
My sights
anything.
set higher.
Like that.
Listen up, fellas. The ring's moving and we're on the wrong side of it.
Ultimate's ready. Say the word and we'll be in the clouds.
Are we blasting off? Hello? Why can't I slide? Actually, I'm gonna go over here. Just to make sure you guys didn't leave anything that I wanted. Well, you left a thing open, so that would qualify. Spitty. Fuck. No.
Spitfire here.
Incoming care package. Pro tip, don't try grabbing something moving at that trajectory.
I really can't stand Valk's personality. Almost as much as I can't stand fucking Bang's personality. Besides, oh, I don't have the good iron sights. Good iron sight skin on this. R99. Sure. Got another arc star. Where are the stairs of this bad boy? There they are. Did you guys even loot here? You did. Car hemlock. Yeah, sure. Gives me more flexibility. I could also just only go heavy now. That's actually more ideal. I don't usually like having two heavies. Two of the same ammo type gun. But I feel like the car is flexible.
If it lands on you, I hear it's good luck.
So much heavy ammo over here. God damn. Yeah, that'll probably do, if I'm being honest. I hate the look of the two. I don't like it. It's okay. What is this? 2018? Okay, I'll keep it like this for now. We'll be using the car more anyway. Yet more ammo. I wonder if I go... No, I won't. I'm not a fool. I got rid of the sentinel saying that I didn't want to risk missing my shots. I'll go one of each, or two of each, I mean. I totally wrote what I was saying, sorry. There we go. Forgot to reload these. Now I need to top myself up. Another spitty. Triple take. I haven't used a triple take in so long. I feel like they're not very good anymore. I don't think they've... I don't know. They're just not great. Not amazing. For a while they were kind of amazing. Bastard. I was doing that. Bitch. There we go. Something interesting. Oh, E. This isn't one of the up ones, is it? Oh. Come on, I believe in you. There we go. We can go over to the barometer. I'm sure there's going to be at least some death boxes there. What are you doing, my friend? I'd like a 2x. Oh, we should try and find a crafter. There we go. There's the crafter. I have 15. I have 35. I don't know if that's enough for everything I want to get. Ooh. Maybe we'll get lucky. That's something else. Kind of all over the place right now. Ooh, that's still in zone. Oh, I'm gonna go to that one. Did not realize. I could also probably pop out and grab the other one. Yeah, we'll be all set.
Replicator on its way.
Let's roll. Do I waste a heat shield? How far we got to go? Not far at all. Okay, I actually am going to use a heat shield. Not my smartest decision, I will be honest. 'Cause I still took damage. I don't really know what I was thinking. But that's okay.
Optics here. Sniper.
Just use one of these real quick.
Healing. Give me a sec.
Do I hear people? I don't think so. Yeah, just that. Okay. This. I will use all three. I do not care. Go fuck yourselves. Oops. Sick. Okay, I'm not gonna be wanting for ammo.
Hold up. Almost on
I don't really like thermals. I used to love thermals. Thermites, not thermals. Oh. Isn't there a... We have an idiot.
Let's use that gravity cannon over there.
Oh, that's going the wrong way.
Change me mind. Ring closes in 45. If you're hurting, walk it off.
We'll go to this gravity cannon. That ought to do. I'm gonna be so pissed if I be SOD, by the way.
Good thing. Only have 30 seconds
It's
left.
like in the back of my mind.
Sniper stock here. Level 3.
Nothing super interesting. Dibs. There's only the second Newcastle I played with. I haven't played much. But that's exciting. Ooh, I thought that was a fucking...
10 seconds and the ring's
Okay.
just ahead.
I thought that light ammo was a digi. Where is this? Oh, it's over here. Whoops. So do not need to do that.
In progress.
Ring's closing and we're all in the danger zone.
Okay. Taking the grab cannon.
Reckon we should go here.
Care package being delivered.
We got another bandit. Incoming care package. Pro tip. Don't try intercepting something at Mach 1.
Okay. Was there actually someone here, or were you just trying to pink shit? You need to be clearer. Oh yeah.
Gotta clown that away.
Half the squad.
You're right, you're right.
There's the
Death
second
box
window
here.
needed.
Maybe we ought to crack her open.
Oh, I am cracking her open. Okay. Sick, sick, sick. Oh my god. Okay. I thought for a second I was BSODing. Oh my god, so annoying. Maybe I'll be able to join back. Why does it keep doing this? Fuck, man. So annoying. God damn. Can we join back? Come on. We might be dead. I mean, we were run up on a team, so. Cross your fingers. Cross your fingers, and I'm still
Squad extending to engage.
right here. Perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect.
Got one. Enemy down.
They are killing people, so
They're out.
should be helping.
Bandit bought the farm. Hold up. Healing.
Damn. Ooh, is it gonna get her? Nope. Oh, it did. Someone else got her. It's okay. Oh my god, again. Badly formed commands sent by the application Design time issue. Right. Hold on, let me take a screenshot of that. I think fucking annoying, so annoying. Okay, let's try and join again. At least catch the end of it. And then I guess we'll fucking switch to another game. It's so annoying. Ugh. I don't know what... I thought I solved these problems, you know? Oh, I realized you might not have been able to see that last thing. Oh, no, you were. It auto-connected. Come on. Hey, we're just gonna be, what? Summary? Probably. Unless... Oh shit, okay. I survived. I don't know how much RP I'm gonna have. Guys, 1 kill, 2 kill assists. I think I must have had an assist. We survived that fight, so. Unless this is the what are you doing? To be fair, I don't really know how to play this dude, so I don't really know. You are on the run, my guy. Alright, let's see how this goes. There's like 2 teams around him. One going for the grav cannon. I think. No, they're not going for the grav cannon. They're around the grav cannon. And there's a lot of teams around. I'm not liking his chances. Yeah, no. You're not gonna make it, my guy. That's okay. I had an assist. Considering I DC'd twice. Am I gonna be positive at all? Hey! I am. Sick. Oh, I was trying to do the math. That was confusing. Okay, nice. Alright. I leveled up. That's exciting. Not really. Nothing super interesting. Charm. What was the charm? Lava drill. What would this go well with? What's my mastiff skin? It would go well with this. I think. Sure, I don't know. Lava drill just sounds like Mad Maggie's riot drill, so I put it on a mastiff because I associate her with the mastiff. Season 13 Apex wins. I don't have any, so I'm not gonna do it. Wait. Do I not have... Oh, there we go. Yeah. That's what I wanted. What other one of those do I have? Do I have Pathy? I do. Do I have a Loba? I do. I think that's it. Right? Yeah, no, not her. I don't think Octane. Don't look like it. Maybe Bloodhound? No. Oh, I was looking at the wrong thing. Are these? No, they're not. Okay. Okay, we're gonna switch games. This is very annoying. I gotta fucking fix shit. I did a fresh install already. I don't really know what else I can do. But I'll look around. Fuck, what do we do now? Do GeoGuessr. We could also do Bridge Constructor. Fuck, what do we do? Any ideas? I meant to play music. Whoops. Oh. I just launched a game. I guess you'll see. Boom. We're playing Bridge Constructor. Let me switch the action. There we are. Remember this bad boy? If you were up at 2 last night, you would see me playing this for like 4 hours. It was a Mixed Bag Monday, and I got it, and I didn't expect to play it for this much, but like, done a good chunk. And I arbitrarily set the goal to get all the badges, so get it like all under budget, pretty much. Hold on, I gotta go see my channel. Oh, it's all fucky. It's so annoying. Oh, it's because I'm not on a I'm on a vertical monitor. I'm stupid. Don't mind me. I'm just stupid. All right. I'm thinking we throw on some music like we were last night. If you were here last night, I'm sorry to say, this stream. I was about to say this podcast. I don't know why. I don't have a podcast. This stream is going to be a lot like last night's stream. So if you weren't interested in that, I'm sorry. If you were interested in that, fucking, you're welcome. Okay, let me put on some music. We're also going to be listening to the same music. Sorry. Just going to make a big ass queue. How about that? You might hate it. Don't care. Go fuck yourself. I do care. If you hate it, let me know what else to play. I am very much open to suggestions. Bro, I can't find... Okay, here we go. Here we go. I'm just queuing up music, sorry. 1st of May, classic. Oh, that's live. Okay. I love this album. Sick. 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 How it works. I don't remember that one. Okay, I got a big ass queue. Hold on. Gotta add one more. We're playing. Okay, I got a 20-song queue. Is this too loud? Hold on, I gotta get my OBS. It's probably definitely too loud. How about that? Like that? That seems good, actually. Alright. Damaged goods. Fragile barriers into the finished area. Did I start this one? Daryl got released 50% less badass.
Sing hey Heidi ho, where the old lobster go, and his body's so furry and brown. Sing ho Heidi hey.
Guard power 4000. Okay. All right, we got to get it here. They're fragile. Oh, this is gonna be easy. This is a classic.
Sends a monster to darken our seas. Cursed be the day that it came. They are ugly,
This is what we do.
small and not tasty at all. They are lobsters in nothing but name. They don't smash open clams on their bellies with stones. They have neither whiskers nor paws. And the furry old lobster so easily crushed in the grip of their terrible claws.
We're just gonna do this. So easy. I think I said I'm gonna fuck this up big time. This actually needs to go lower. Because as we know, these often struggle to stay put together. I don't know why I said it like that. I've lost all sense of how to play this game. I will be honest. within a night.
Tom Cruise is so in love
Start
with
here.
Katie. At least all his people tell him so.
Okay, that works.
And while he thinks that
So far, so
she's
good.
a very special lady,
I know this isn't looking structurally sound.
probably not the way he choose to
They're not
go.
connected to anything on the other end, but I'm gonna hold them up.
But a lifetime
cables.
of longing
Why would I do this like this?
cause too much distraction. Good thing that he's not gay
Okay.
anymore.
Cable time. Cable here.
Tom Cruise is
Cable
Tom
here.
Cruise crazy.
This
Just
one,
glad it's him,
cable
not
here.
you.
Sure.
If you had Tom Cruise's troubles, you might
I'm thinking
be
actually
Tom
we
Cruise
put like
crazy
this.
too. You'd flash your big white
That doesn't
shiny
reach.
smile. You'd buy expensive shoes.
Okay, we'll go like that too.
You'd be
Just to be
the
safe, you
only
know.
man on earth who couldn't
So
enjoy
we need,
Tom
yeah.
Cruise.
This is like where the crux of it
Couldn't
is.
enjoy Tom Cruise.
Like that. Is that gonna stay? Not quite.
Tom Cruise is always getting older.
That's breaking.
He knows he'll never be that young again.
Damn it. Okay, we can fix this
And when
fairly
Tom
easily, I
Cruise
think.
looks back over his shoulder,
We're much below budget, very below budget, which means I can
sees
probably just replace
1,000
these with
younger
metal.
leading men. And he knows someday he'll have to play an old retarded grandpa.
All right.
Someone younger plays his sexy son.
There we go.
Tom Cruise is
There we
Tom
go.
Cruise crazy. Just be glad it's him, not you. If you had Tom
Fuck.
Cruise's troubles, you might be Tom
the metal.
Cruise crazy too. You'd flash your big
Again,
bright
we're
shiny
very far
smile.
from-
You'd buy expensive
Okay, let's just see if this
shoes.
works.
But you'd be the only man on earth who
Ooh.
couldn't enjoy Tom Cruise. Oh no,
Let's look at this again.
couldn't enjoy Tom Cruise.
Damn. Is this too steep? Let's try this. Fuck. I think this is too steep.
Somewhere in some secluded castle, poor Tom Cruise sits staring at the
Maybe
wall.
we'll do this.
And the outside world is always such a hassle. Sometimes he won't go out.
How about that?
at all.
Oh, well, that broke, but that's okay.
There are millions who know his name. Everybody loves him. Why is it that he feels so alone?
Okay, well,
Tom
yes.
Cruise is Tom Cruise crazy. Just be glad it's him, not you.
Well, that broke. How did that break?
You had Tom Cruise.
'Cause I got rid of this.
You might be Tom
I'm
Cruise
stupid.
crazy too. You'd flash your big white shiny smile. You'd buy expensive shoes.
Okay.
But you'd be the only
Too steep.
man on earth
Big time too steep.
couldn't enjoy Tom Cruise. Oh no, you couldn't enjoy Tom Cruise.
We can actually get rid of this. Trying to think. Okay.
Code
This is
monkey,
too
get up,
steep.
get coffee. Code monkey, go to job. Code monkey, have boring
I think I'm doing this
meeting.
slightly wrong.
Boring manager
Or,
Rob.
like different to how I should be doing it.
Rob say code
That's
monkey,
okay.
very diligent, but his output stink.
I think we go like this,
His
right?
code not functional or elegant. What do code monkey think? Code monkey think maybe manager wanna write.
It's also way too steep. I think I gotta do more than a couple switchbacks, you know?
Loud code monkey not crazy, just proud. Code monkey like freedom.
So we're gonna do this.
Code monkey like Tab and Mountain Dew. Code monkey very simple man. With big warm
And then another one. Oh, let's drag this down here.
code monkey like you.
Like down here. And we'll go here. How about that? Hold on. Clear construction. I have an even better idea, right? We're just gonna have the... I'll just do all metal, fuck it.
Code monkey offer buy you soda. Bring you cup, bring you ice. You say no thank you for the soda, cause soda make you fat. Anyway, you busy with the telephone.
Here's what we're gonna do.
No time for chat. Code monkey have long walk back to
And this again.
sit down, pretend.
We're gonna have like multiple switchbacks, but they're like one after the other. Not like all the way across and then all the way across and then all the way across. Just gonna be like boom, 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 you know? Just gotta pay attention to what I'm doing.
Code monkey, very simple man. Big, warm, fuzzy, secret heart. Code monkey like you.
I think that's... I just need to make it stay up. Which I guess is the problem. We can at least do this, which I think is just kind of funny. What if we did like a bunch of these triangles, right? Except not this one. Oh, we'll use metal for this one. Fuck it. We're gonna get it over budget first. This isn't gonna stay. Yeah, I'm dumb. We gotta like anchor these. Damn it. Ooh, there we go. And then this one goes here. And this one also goes here. Okay, how about this? That's staying in place. Oh, I don't think the angles are right. Yeah, I think it's gonna go over. Also, too steep. Fuck. Oh, you know what I think I need to do? Hold on. Fuck, I gotta clear again. This one goes this way. And this one goes that way. That one goes that way. And that one goes that way. And then this one goes this way. Yeah. Maybe if this is still steep, we can like kind of round it out right here so it slows down. How about that? And this one will be... This one will be like a much bigger one. It'll deposit them there. And I never felt as good as how I do right now, except for maybe when I think of how I felt that day, when I felt the way that I do right now. Right now, I feel fantastic. And I never felt as good as how I do right now, except for maybe when I think of how I felt that day. Yeah, how about this? More rolling, less falling. Hey, how about this? That works, I think. Oh, hold on. I gotta figure this out. I try to mitigate my concentration haze. I can see the day unfold in front of me. So I take the stairs and hit the gym. The phone is ringing when I get to my desk. Well, plus the stinging's now a sharp pain in my chest. So I take a calm and X and just chill. And then it's time for lunch again. All I know is work is easy when you don't stress. Okay, let's give this a try. All I know is to take my medicine. I always take my medicine. And it kind of lines up very nicely. See this? It all makes the triangles. It's gonna reach? Fuck. Okay, we'll use a cable, I guess. Cables are strong, that's the thing. And this one can cable here. Maybe I cable here. We'll do at the end of every one. This is messy and confusing. Confusing for me, and I'm making it. Maybe I actually do this one. And we just do a big old spider joint here. That connects there. This hangs from here. That's very important. That also works. That actually works well. That goes there. See if this stays. Oh my god, it does. First try. Okay, so far so good. They're being slowed down. So far so really good. This is where speed gets picked up and they blow up. Shit. Okay, okay, we just need to fix this fucking bottom part. Oh my god. Beautiful. Oh, what am I doing? I should be hanging this. This is it, right? And we're so close to being under, actually. There we go. We're gonna finish and reset because we can get this under, I promise. How about this? And we also don't need this probably to be. Let's try this. So far, so good. Sorry, I was fixing something. Okay. Fuck, you got stuck. Like that? That might be too steep. What if we did like... I gotta rethink this. We just did that. What's wrong? That doesn't fit, but that doesn't really need to, does it? Does it? It does. Or maybe I just do like this? Maybe we don't need that. What did I do differently? Fuck. What am I doing differently? Okay. Well, this is a fairly easy fix. We just turn them into metal. Yeah, that's easy. As long as this doesn't break and these don't break, we are a-okay. As long as I get to the bottom, then I'll deal with the bottom, you know? Ooh, okay. They all get there, they don't get stuck. Sick. I figure... Is that gonna work? Should, right? I think it's just by chance, kind of. If they get caught. I guess we'll see. Yeah. No, they aren't. Fuck. Change the angle a little bit. Like this? Maybe? I don't know. Making shifts where we can. Hopefully it doesn't break. Fuck. God damn. I didn't realize. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna bump this up one. Try it again. We're gonna get this. Of course we're gonna get this. That's the fucking stream. We're gonna play this game, folks. We're gonna win this game. Alright, that's not bad. I don't think. Hold on. Oh, fuck. I need that. Do I? Yeah, you kind of do. This doesn't need to be... I don't even think it hits these. Let's try it. Doesn't get caught. Going slow. Doesn't go over. Not too fast. Okay. What the fuck? Oh, hold on. Big brain. How much is that? Is that gonna stop it enough? I think it might. Damn it. Just make this smallest triangle possible. We'll try this. We still have a lot to play with, you know? Oh, we have, 150, but it's still a lot. Oh, shit. Okay. We fucking did it. Beautiful. I wasn't sure that was gonna work, but it did. Sick. Okay, nice. I really cannot stand Eugene, like, at all. Okay. Oh, okay. Wait, what the hell? Oh, do I have to, like, brace it against this? Oh, I can't. I gotta remember that they're fast. How about that? And we do the same thing over here? Maybe? Fuck. Too high. God damn. There we go. Same thing over here. Is that just gonna work? Probably not. Oh, well, I'm an idiot. Wait a second. Wait. I can't do this, damn, can I? Damn it.
You float above
But this one can catch here.
in the pretty white ships that I've been dreaming of. And I'd like to swim beside you, getting
That one can
dizzy
stay.
in your way,
They both can stay.
getting close enough to
It's like a
touch you,
drawbridge.
getting brave enough to
Drawbridge.
take you into my
Okay.
arms, bring you down.
I gotta think a lot more vertical, I think. Like this.
But I can't do that
How about that?
thing anymore.
We're gonna use all metal, just to be safe.
Can't be the thing I was before.
It makes doing the line out so much easier,
Maybe
too.
I am better off alone, because I crush everything.
Fuck.
And I crush
Can't do that, though.
everything, and I
That's okay.
crush everything.
We could do it under, I guess. Does under have the same structural integrity?
My body's strong.
I guess it just puts stress on different things.
My
Okay, let's try this
will
now.
is weak. I got pretty nice
They're both gonna be
arms,
dragged until they're like that.
but I hate my
Okay, too weak. The
And the dolphins are
wait,
all
what if we did like
fun.
this
They
though?
seem nice enough
Can I
at
get this
first,
one? No.
but they pretend to be your
And
friend
do this
until
one.
they see you at your worst, and then they leave you without a word.
That one stayed.
Away.
One of them broke though.
So I can't do that.
What if I did
anymore?
another one up here?
I can't be the thing I was before.
Whoops.
Maybe I am better off alone.
I'll do the same over here.
I crush everything and I crush everything and I crush
Okay.
everything.
This one's
And everything I want, I take. And everything I love, I break. And every night I lie awake.
neither of them are staying now. Oh, because I didn't put. I'm so dumb. We'll also, I guess, cross brace both of these. It feels like a smart thing to do.
Did
I reach now.
stars come out?
Okay, let me actually connect this one.
Did the world spin round?
Ugh.
Does it matter that
Do I
much
use this?
when
do I use
you're
metal?
10
No, right?
miles down? In the light that filters down into
Oh.
my giant yellow eye, I can see the sails unfolding, stretching wide against the sky, and I forgive them. I forgive and I let go. 'Cause I
Just
can't
too
do
much stress
that
on this one thing.
anymore.
I think.
Can't be the thing I
Alright, let's
was
try again.
before. Maybe
You can go
I am
directly
better
across.
off alone
Maybe we go like this though.
because
For both of them.
I
Definitely this
crush
one.
everything
That one's gotta be like
and I
up here
crush
pretty much.
everything and I crush everything. I lie below.
Can I get.
You float above.
Oh. Okay, but this is multiple like attachment points now.
Pretty
Oops.
white ships that I am dreaming.
Like that. Is that gonna stay? Almost. A lot of stress here. Just kind of tells me that I need to build this better.
This is a song about springtime. I woke up this morning, had a scone and a large house blend. Then a little conversation with my squirrel and chipmunk friends. Said I'm sick and tired of winter, and I wish that it was spring. Then a little fella named Robin Redbreast
It's so
began
close.
to sing.
I think maybe I need to.
And he sang, ooh, child, what do you think the cold winter's gonna last forever? Ooh, child, now's the time for all the people to get together
Fuck, man.
outside. 'Cause it's the first of May, outdoor fucking starts today. So bring your favorite lady,
know what to do here.
or at least your favorite lay.
Okay, what if I. Okay, let me try this.
Baby, dip in your big
method.
toe. Maybe I'll see you in flagrante delicto. Grass below you, sky above. Celebrate spring with a crazy little thing.
Oh, I'm an idiot.
called fucking
Doesn't
outside.
weigh anything.
I thanked him for the information. I cried a little when he flew away. I watched an episode of The People's Court and I tried to plan my day. I called
That
up
does
my
stop
old
that. I think I need to
lady.
do it on the other
She
side,
wasn't
too.
home, so I called my girl. I asked her if she'd like to join me as I entertain the world. And I said, ooh, child, bring a blanket and I promise I will brush the ants off. Ooh, child, you're gonna like it when we're taking each other's pants off outside. 'Cause it's the first of May, outdoor
dumb
fucking
of me.
starts today. So bring your favorite lady. or
Both
at
of those
least
stay.
your
Okay,
favorite
okay.
lady.
Oh my god.
The Water's not cold, baby, dip in
Okay.
your big toe.
And that was
Maybe
just a
I'll see
test,
you
but it
at the
worked.
Bronte Delicto. Grass below you, sky above. Celebrate spring with a
Okay,
crazy
we gotta
little
make it
thing
cheaper.
called a fucking outside.
What if we did this?
So we went to the
Okay, we're at
park
6K.
together.
These can probably
We
be
were walking
smaller.
in the midday sun. We met all kinds of people and we fucked everyone. We fucked a lady who sells ice cream. We fucked a man with a tan Sharpay. Everyone who needed fucking well, they
Okay,
got
that's good.
fucked today.
5,700.
So come on, ooh, child, open
This
your
is
minds and
steeper,
your hearts, feel
but
the
shorter.
fluid moving through you.
5,500.
Ooh, child, you feel the warmth of the love when I stick it to you.
Okay, I might need even less than this. What if I did like that?
'Cause it's the first of May, outdoor fucking starts today. Oh yeah, bring your
Okay.
favorite lady, or at least your favorite lady.
This is probably just gonna be able to be super.
A
lot shallower. Okay, it breaks, but it doesn't matter.
Celebrate spring with a crazy little thing called a fucking outside. A fucking outside. A fucking outside.
Okay, 5,200. We're getting there. We're getting there. We're getting there.
Thank you, San Francisco. We love you.
I wonder if I did like.
I almost forgot to mention there's cake for everyone.
No, that's not gonna work. Oh, what if I did this in wood though?
In the bag was
I'll try this with wood too.
delicate skin.
That's gonna work. Perfect. Okay. As long as it doesn't break. But I hope it doesn't.
On my cheeks and chin.
This one holds. No, it clearly doesn't.
In the stash.
Not long enough, that's the thing. We'll try the metal here. Yeah, we'll just keep doing that.
Grow. Now I'm rocking the stash. All this time, finally you
Ooh, okay, it's getting.
what lips are
It didn't break though. There we go. Nice. I wonder if I could have done more of that with wood. But we got it, so we're moving on. Nice. Shit.
It's a big school.
What's going on here?
About a time when here.
About to hit the road again, but there was one crucial ingredient missing. Mouse couldn't live without it. Not that it didn't also carry a whole bunch of consequences for the rest of us. Cigarette. Meds. Oh, close enough.
Tender hearts breaking one by one. We'd be rocking the stash. Ladies, please. There's room for
Cannot stand this dude. I hate the way he talks.
once to try. No one dares deny the stash.
Alright, we're killing him. That's all we gotta do. That's easy enough.
Man of action.
I mean, is it gonna be this simple, really?
Matters is the bottom line. Grow a nice one and get ready for your time to shine. Keep on rocking the stash. Strain the world and let the good stuff in. Keep on rocking the stash. Make your stand. Celebrate
she finally left me. She left one thing behind, just a small box on the table that she wanted me to find.
That doesn't reach.
There's
Fuck.
something bad inside it. It was something that I should have left alone. Now everything
I
is
use a cable here.
still. It was
Keep up this part.
that made it revolve.
That stays.
Was fine until it was all
They are rolling. Hey,
now. Watch me dissolve.
I still killed 7. Okay, clearly I need to do like an actual like
It was
upper ramp part.
something,
We're gonna get rid of this part at least.
something precious and rare. Then it changed me, and I liked it. Now I wish it wasn't there. Would you cancel my appointments?
There we go.
Pretty sure I won't be coming in today.
Fuck. I like this one.
Everything is standing still. It was only my head that made it revolve. Everything was fine until it was awful instead. Now watch me dissolve. Everything is standing still. It was only my head that made it revolve.
That one's great. Okay, I gotta just do the other side.
Was fine until
We're already over budget. Fuck.
now watch me dissolve.
I wonder if I just did like that.
It's too late to
With that?
say I'm sorry.
No shot this works, right?
Anyway, it's
Oh,
not true.
or it does. How about that?
Small box
How about just one?
table, and I left it there for you.
Damn, okay. In that case, I probably can get rid of this stuff too.
Like it. If you need me, I'll be
Okay.
ever here. 'Cause
We're halfway there.
everything is standing still. It was only my head that made it revolve.
Oh. Probably we gotta go do this.
Everything was fine.
It's a lot better, I think.
It was awful instead. Now watch me dissolve.
Okay, that part works. Let's focus on this now.
It's an amazing smile. Even the suit has teeth. Everything flash and guile. Nothing underneath except a small black heart that no one sees but me. I've been watching, I can see you start to wonder. Could it be that you need me to keep you out, to run you faster? Promise me you'll let me be the one, the worst of all your enemies, pretending you're a friend to me. Say that we'll be nemesis.
Is this gonna work?
Brilliant man,
Okay. Well, I did
great expense,
maybe 2.
devising a master plan. It doesn't make much sense unless you
30.
find the
Fuck.
one destined to
They both need to be shallower. God damn.
I don't seem that crazy, do I? Could it be that you need me to keep you out, to run you faster? Promise me you'll let me be the one, the worst of all your enemies, pretending you're a friend to me. Say that we'll be nemesis. Oh yes, my old friend, you are a master of this game. The hidden blade, you pretend that you don't even know my
I wonder if that's all I need actually. And I hold it up here and that just hangs on the floor. Not quite. I could probably do this though.
Sometimes it's hard to tell.
Eh? Just one single thing?
Notice
Yeah, I knew that was. Oh wait, that kind of worked. Hold on. Nah, it doesn't work. I can also bump this now. We're just gonna work on this one for now. Okay, that side is fine. That's 33. Oops. Okay. Here, 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 here. Now, oops. I said here, 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 here. And then he said, I'm right here. It's funny. Here. Oh, but you know what? I don't need these. So I have this. Beautiful. Yeah? Will this work? It will. Okay. Oh, I can do this though. That's a better point. Is it, I think? Okay. We did it. We just need to... That was the sword. Let's take the ground. I need to cut it down. What if I do a smaller section in wood? Probably doable, right? Well, kind of.
You don't look interested in what I just said. If you're not listening, then don't nod your head. I thought so, that's what I thought, that someday soon this job is
Still cheaper.
kill me dead inside, unless I kill it first instead.
Okay, a couple glaring things that I can get rid of. Pretty much this. Like... Honestly, I could probably just do with a wooden one. Like that, and then that. Fuck, I keep pressing the wrong button. I'll just do that. Because it falls so much. See? Here we go. It gets all of them still. Okay.
They gave me a test to make me the best that I could be. They knew all along that there was something wrong with me.
That still hold?
We picked out a
Yes.
spot and made a hole. Wire and glass and stainless steel.
I want to see where this
Now
connects.
I can imagine how I feel.
See what happens if I do this. Didn't even need that first section. Okay, hold on. We're almost there. Tuck this down. Oh, we do need this.
There's blood on the bed, but here in my head I'm feeling fine. It's easy to sleep when I'm not buzzing all the time.
142 away.
The way I was before.
This could probably be cable. It's just holding it there.
But now I see. Once I was him, but now he.
Play this one too.
Got a new heart, I got a new heart, I got a new heart, I got a new artificial heart.
There we fucking go. Nice. There we go. Hell yeah. we doing here?
I don't need to think at all if I don't care for you. It's not an emergency.
Gotta kill all these guys. Get you here.
I look at the walls and they go clear. Cover my eyes and disappear.
Okay.
I got a new heart. I got a new
First thing
heart.
first.
I got a new heart. I got
You.
a new artificial heart.
Once you get here,
It's not a real
you're
heart.
throwing
It's not a
this
real heart. It's not a real heart.
like right here, I think.
Artificial heart.
Where the hell's Kira supposed to be going? Oh, you can build here. Okay, okay. I think that'll be just to be safe. We'll go over here, and then what?
Out of the clear blue cloudless skies, a bolt of lightning came. Were you at least a bit surprised when angels spoke your name? They said it's you who puts the gravity
I'll
in
have
the
to-
ground. They said it's you who all
Is this
the
gonna
stars
drive? It
revolve
is, isn't it?
around. Scientists were
You
wrong, suspected all
need to
of
shoot
it might
this.
be true. World
Wait, no,
belongs
not
to
there, not there.
you.
Hold on, I gotta build first.
No one escapes the things they've done, a fate that fits the crime. You've got a plan for everyone. Where do you find the time? Because it's you dancing the planets on a string, and it's you who's got to handle everything. There'll be hell to pay unless we all behave the way you want us to. The world belongs to you.
Why can't I do that?
From inside these limousines, the world is looking darker every day. And you wonder if that means when you close your eyes, it goes away. It goes away. Tie up your loose ends one by
This is a really hard build, I think. It's gotta be like all structure from here.
Even your angels think you're done. They roll their eyes at you because it's you who's getting bigger every day, and it's you who's gonna drive them all away. As they turn to go, you can forgive them for they know not what they do. World belongs to you.
That's not gonna hold up, is it? I know it's not. It needs to be more, a little bit more structural. Bump them up a little bit. I'm still weak though.
I don't like to lose a man. Third location and a second string team and one awful plan. Tough for us. This is what we came here for. Had enough trouble, but the trouble wants more. I don't want to straighten up. I don't want to fly right. I just want to drive around a while and bust a couple things up with the bad kids. And I feel better already. And I feel better already. You don't know what you're trying to take from me. You don't like it messy, but it's gonna get as messy as it wants to be. Wind me up.
It's not staying up there.
Sit down and look away. I can see the bottom and the bottom's okay. I don't want to straighten up. I don't want to fly right. I just want to drive around a while and bust a couple things up with the bad kids. And I feel better already. And I feel
We need to focus on getting this first bridge, I think.
I feel better already. And I feel better already. Souvenez-vous, il y a un disque avec un chien.
Okay. And this part needs structure.
Un chien qui
But not that
porte
part, because I need that part to
comme
fall.
Je veux dire,
How's this? That's fine. Okay, we're getting there. But we can't just run there. Now you shoot here. And then you go up. And then we'll just play. Clearly there's problems here. But that's okay. We can deal with those in a moment. I think this is so solid. I honestly think I can just build it off of this. Okay. Is this gonna work? I think this might actually work. It's super weak. That's okay. We can bump this up one more. Get a little more length. It doesn't need to be fancy, you know? Oh, you're stuck here? God damn it. How about this? Is that better? Okay, you get there. Okay, you get there. This is all set, I think. I gotta do this ramp. Big time. I gotta kill these guys too. Fuck. How do I do that? He only has one. Well, that was not quick enough. Maybe she goes up and then she shoots here. And she goes this way. How about that? Give him a little more time to run. That's perfect. Okay, now we just gotta figure out how to kill these guys. Apparently some are still alive. 1, 2, 3, 4. Am I missing others? Fuck. Okay, okay, okay. They need to go here. This needs to be like here. Let's see the behavior of this. I really don't see how I can do this. Does this need to keep driving? No way, right? There's no way. Okay, I'm gonna try and... Wait, where did it go? Oh, wrong person. How about just like right there? Maybe you need to, hold on. Maybe you go down, bait some of them, and then throw. There. Or you move. Wait. Okay. There we go. They're all going there. He's running. He's baiting them all. She shoots. Might not be enough time this time. Ah, fuck. Okay, she needs to waste time. She go up, down. That could be good. I really don't know how to get these other ones, though. Unless I'm missing something.
It doesn't care about second tries. You're afraid whatever choice you make won't be exactly the right.
Okay, well, let me fix this.
Sharp teeth test your skin. Too late, you let an angel. I bet.
Let's try this. She shoots now. It falls. Kills them all. Good. Still driving. Oh, wait, what? Apparently that did it. Okay. Oh. Okay, hold on. I had to do 10. 17 total. I was looking at the wrong thing, goddammit. Nice, okay. I'm glad I prioritized that then. I wouldn't last much longer without those drugs. Okay. Hold the parade. Drag him into the riverbed. Okay. This is just a simple bridge. Not quite, though. We want a little bit of a gap here. And we want a gap at some point. I mean, that's pretty perfect. We bump this up. How about that? Or do I... I'm thinking we bump this part up and they fall here. Is that gonna kill him though?
She was in the keg line with a yellow plastic cup. It's like I'd never seen a girl before.
Okay.
Puffy leather jacket and a healthy head of hair. With the hair she was 6'4".
This works first time. I'll throw a fucking fit. No fucking shot. I need more structure.
She was the town crotch, but I loved her like she was mine. There's a lot of things I don't remember now. I remember the town crotch.
Still too much. I think I need to actually, you know, attach it to this.
Remember the town crotch.
Oh, what the hell?
I had a pint of SoCo in the pocket of my coat. You can hardly taste the alcohol.
Why does it keep doing this?
Watched her from a distance, but I never said a word. I was young and I felt so
Fuck.
small.
Do I need it to actually arch? I think I actually do need to arch. For structure.
She was the town crotch, and I loved her like she was mine. There's a lot of things I don't remember now. I remember the town crotch. The town crotch.
That goes all the way up there, right?
Stood around and drank a lot and leaned against the cars. Tried to beat the winter, made it just under the wire. set some stuff on fire. The cops came by to bust us, so we left the beer and ran. My head hurt and I couldn't find my ride. She pulled up in a Gremlin and she rolled the window down. She said, "Hey kid, get inside." Then she asked my name, drove me home. She was the town crotch. She was good to go anytime. She was the town crotch, but I loved her like she was mine. There's a lot of things I don't remember now, but I remember the town crotch. I remember the town crotch.
I shot that state up.
The town crowd.
I'm kind of... I think I've forgotten the basics of bridge building. This right here is too weak. How about that?
Okay, guys, everyone ready to sing the song?
Yeah, we're ready.
Great. Now, remember.
Okay, gotta find new music now. That was the end of my cue. What do I listen to? Oh, you know what I'll listen to? Sonic R soundtrack. It's a fucking good soundtrack. Is this gonna work? Oh, it's all the wood. I think I just gotta go no wood, really. Damn. There we go. Just wanted to stretch it fully.
Can you see the sun is shining on me? It makes me feel so free, so alive. It makes me want to survive. And the sky, it makes me feel so high. The bad times pass me by. 'Cause today, it's gonna be a brighter day. Can you feel the sunshine? Does it brighten up the day? Don't you feel that sometimes you just need to run away? Reach out for the sunshine, forget about the rain. Just think about the good times, and they will come back again. The sunshine.
Damn.
Without you,
This just looks like a solid bridge. As long as I can pick up some speed and get over this gap. Please. Not gonna work. Far too big of a gap. But if I drop this a little bit, maybe. No, it's not fast enough. It just needs to be like a literal, like, tiny gap. Like that. be enough of a gap. I hope so. We'll see. Oh, well, it breaks. That works perfectly. Okay. Sick. Viper. I do need to get it under 7,500 though. Forge. If I just do this. Oh my god. I gotta clear again. And this whole, what I need to do is, I feel like I can still do this with wood, right? Just a normal bridge. Okay, hold on. I want to mirror it, that's the thing. Goes in there. One above, two up. Above, two up. Ugh. That's annoying. So we did this. I don't really know what I'm doing. Can I get to this one? There we go. This is a bold. Oh. This is just gonna crumple because of this, right? Yeah. Instead of that, can I just use metal right here? Okay. How do I did this? Ready? Stop it. I'm thinking like an actual like full-on suspension. Damn it. So close. There we go. See how this works. If it works. No shot that actually fucking stays up. Holy shit. We're way over budget, but that was fun to do. No way, dude. Some of them died. No fucking way. What the hell? Whoa, that's not good. A little tricky one. Whoops. Oh, apparently that was too much.
Sometimes I ask myself, what am I doing here? I think of all the reasons, but it's still not clear. I look at places to go, there's nothing near. So take me away from this, 'cause this place I hardly miss. So take me back in time to another world, then you can be mine. We don't have to worry when you're by my side. There's nothing I don't know, there's nothing to decide apart from where we want to go.
Oh my god. That's annoying.
What am I doing now by coming back for more? Is it me, or have I been here before? I want to go somewhere that we can explore. Just take me away from here to somewhere that's nowhere near.
Damn.
So take me back in
Fuck.
to another.
Okay, I think this is a solid base, right? Whoops. Maybe I could try and do like an actual proper suspension bridge. It's so annoying. What do I did? I can base it off that, I guess. Same size. No, that is. Why won't that connect there? What? They're different. The sides are different. Up 2, across 2. Up 2, across 2. That's annoying. Point being, I want to make like an actual suspension. Right? This one's all fucky. But okay. And then like this. And also anchor myself here. Hey, holy shit, that works. That's crazy that that works. And that breaks. Doesn't make it though. Whoops. That worked. Am I able to like simplify this design? Oh my god, this might be the actual design that I should use. As long as it breaks, which is gonna. Oh my god, this might be it. We got by though. Fuck. What if I got rid of that? Oh, that's doable. Are they gonna fall? They don't fall. Damn it. Break, 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 break. It's not breaking. Fuck. No. I was having more luck at least. If I move this. How about there? Ooh, that's very bowed. Worked though. It's a good bridge. Not breaking though. Some are falling. Not enough. We're gonna save this one for now, but also clear. Wait, why don't I just... That's fucking why. God damn it. So annoying. I think we're gonna need this like little thing here. Fuck. It's okay, this is gonna be just a super strong part or something.
Another day is like a new beginning. And so today, I know that it's a new start. I know the bad times are disappearing. 'Cause now I know that we'll never be apart. You're the one that makes me feel so high.
Okay. God. Damn it. Okay, and then we use cables to attach this. Maybe? Oh, that almost holds actually. Other than this shit, which is annoying. I need to... Oh, fuck. Things are failing. I don't know what to do. We did already finish this one, right? I think we did.
You're the one that makes me feel so
sec, I'm trying to figure out something. That's the one. I don't know. Okay. I think that's a good start. I'll do pretty much the same over here. I think the straight up is super strong. If I make a thing over here and then like table, so like half suspension, half like structure. I can knock this out a couple, I think. Make it there. I don't know. Then across. I go. I can't go there, can I? Just there. And then across. Across. Two wood. And then let me make all this. Fuck. Oh, and then cables. It's just gonna be super squat. That's not holding. Oh no, no, I'm missing so much of it. Can I use wood over here? Cable? Like that? But the rest of it's holding. I just need to like add a little bit of structure here. Like that? Oh, that work? And then that'll be the part that breaks out. We're under. Come on, break, come on. Fuck! Not enough. Oh wait. Oh my god, I think it just worked. Hold on. Come on. That breaks. Oh, some of them get through. Okay, we're getting close though. It's like a hybrid. I didn't finish, so I don't know why it told me to finish. Wait, did it? Oh, you only need to kill 50. You don't need to kill all of them. Fuck. I'm looking up here thinking like, oh, okay, I need to get 60. But you don't. You just need the 50. I do finish. Don't I? Okay. Fuck. Oh my god, I wonder how many times I fucking... Oh, that's so annoying. Where the heck is she taking us? Who are you? Killian. Center for Spiritual Awakening. It's a cult. Okay. March down a corridor. Okay. Get both vehicles into the finishing area.
When the day is done, when the race is won, my life has only just begun. When you're next to me, so much
What the
more
fuck?
I can see. There's nowhere that I'd rather be. When I'm away from you, and there's nothing I can do. Do you think the same things too? When the time has come, I don't want you to run.
How am I supposed to do this one?
You know that you're the only one. All I need is you for always and forever.
Snake one of these down.
Remember when I said all we need
Start.
is love for us to be together. 'Cause you're my number one. All I need is you for always and forever. All you need is me. Remember when I said all we need is love for us to be together. 'Cause you're my number one. At the end of each day, or whenever you're away, there's always things I want to say. But wherever you go, you will always know that I've got so much more to show. It was such a surprise when I looked into your eyes. It's only then I realized
Okay,
you're the one for
that's like the base of it.
I want to
The
see.
basis for it, right?
There's no place I would rather
You know what I'm thinking?
be. All I
It's gonna be like this, right? They're gonna brace against themselves. If that makes any sense. Like this, right? Just want to make things don't fall through, you know? Probably a much better way to do that, but for now, didn't work. This can just go straight across, can it? Can, I'm just an idiot. Now I'm looking, it's actually like pretty much... Fuck. Well, not super exact, but that's fine actually. There we go. I think this is what you're supposed to do. Man. That actually works out well. Okay. Fuck, but it can't get to itself. Fuck. Okay, hold on. How about we just do this? How about this fancy ass thing? Eh? No shot that stays. Oh, it almost does. Oh, but if we bump these here... Okay. That stays. Holy shit. Crazy. Okay, now let's try and hang this. How about that? It's like a little bit too much weight, but it's not that far off. That's crazy. I can actually pop out twice. Okay, we're getting there. How about this, eh? Well, it was almost cool. Still can be, I think. Maybe, hold on. Damn it. Not quite. Oh, what if I did this? Just on top of each of them. I know we're way over budget. That's fine. How about that, eh? Oh my god. It almost works. I don't know how this would ever possibly work. Wait, something's not symmetrical here. This isn't symmetrical. There we go. Wait, counterweights. Fuck. I totally forgot that counterweights were a thing. I don't know why I made it so weird. I'm just gonna make a solid block. How about that? Okay, no, these do actually need to be this. Oh my god. We're getting there. This keeps failing. It's gonna fail again. It did it. Oh, whoops. But that did. We'll just throw like a small little cable here, I guess. It failed this time. Fuck. If I just make it longer, it'll actually land on it. There we go. Okay, we did it at least. It's certainly not under the limit. Tonight you shall be well fed. You know what I think? I think we do away with all this shit. And just work with counterweights. I think that's very doable. Well, I say that, and it's gonna be very much not doable, I guarantee it. Oh, I mean, we just shaved 400 off of it. I mean, 4,000 off of it. Okay. I wonder how much of this we actually need. Maybe not, like, a lot at all. Nope, definitely need that. This side's, like, solid. Okay, we're at 1,400. That's good. We just gotta shave 2,000 off. That's doable. I think if we make this lower, don't need these. Okay. 13. Oh wait, hold on. Can I make these out of wood? I feel like it'd be just so much smarter and easier. I can definitely make those out of wood. And that's a lot cheaper. And less weight. Oh, it broke. Hold on. Why did it break? There we go. Okay. Maybe other smaller sections I can make with wood. Whoa. Okay, need this one, right? I forgot. We're getting there. We're so close. Ooh, a little too heavy. It's okay. Didn't fold. Oh my god. Oh my god. Fuck. So close. These are those heavier? I don't actually know. They might not be. This might be a total waste. Well, they definitely are heavier, actually. Because that just moved like a real fast. You know, I can't help but feel like those are kind of useless. Oh, well. In certain respects. Oh my god. That's an even better run than the other ones, and I'm so far under. Well, there we go. Nice. It was decent. We still sleep. Okay. I have to get those to A and kill 12. What in the world? Is this not just like a normal bridge? Am I dumb thinking this is going to be super easy? I mean, there we go. That's a bridge. I don't know what's going on up here. I really don't. Hold on, am I supposed to do like some weird... like... weird weight thing? That pulls this off this ledge and knocks this down? That'd be crazy. And slides this down here. I think it actually is. Holy shit. Like this? Probably needs to be a lot steeper, actually. Like that. Let's see what happens. Well, that didn't work. Hold on, though. If I make all of this... hear me out. If this runs again, a lot heavier now, it'll break that. That rolls down. It doesn't roll down. It's not, it doesn't roll. What am I thinking? Could though, couldn't it? I'm making a ball. I'm making a fucking rolling ball. Okay, that holds up, yeah. Okay, I'm gonna make a metal or wooden? Metal outsides. Problem is, I gotta do this to each side. Do we think this is actually gonna roll? I feel like if it's structurally sound enough, it will. Okay. There's our ball. I think we're just gonna cross-hatch like all of this. It's not gonna move much. And that looks crazy. Let's try it. It isn't breaking. How? You know what I needed to do, I think? Something like this. It needs to have like a tension moment. Like that! Didn't work. Looks cool though, doesn't it? Maybe it needs to roll differently. Just kind of falls apart is the thing. Of course, I could just swing something. Problem is, I'd have to make this somewhere else. And it's already kind of swinging. It looks fucking cool, doesn't it? Oh, hold on. I could also just have it... Hold on. Just straight up roll from here. I don't need to hang. What about that? Oh, it's kind of rolling. What if I did this? Nope. Damn it. How about that? Oh, that fucked it big time. I'll be honest, I don't think that's gonna work. I could just try and... I feel like it's a lot simpler to just try and jury-rig this so that the zombies fall through and they don't. Just gotta figure out how to do that. It'll probably actually be best in the middle section. How about that? Is it that simple? It is not that simple. How about that? That'll definitely go over. I don't know if it'll catch any of the zombies though. We got one. Whoops. That also did not work. also did not work. They're really trying to... Oh, but it did push it. Interesting. Come on. There we go. Okay. We have a bridge that works. How do we make it not work? Like this? Already has a lot of strain. If it can withstand this, I don't think... Damn it. Oh! Oh! Come on. Be enough weight. It's not enough weight. Wait, hold on. What if I just remove this? And then, hold on. And then I do this. That might just break off the bat. It does, damn it. But, not if I use this. Maybe. Oh, kinda does. Damn it. Okay. This could be good. Drink some water. Just don't break. Fuck. Damn it. What if I replace this with this and let it fail in other places? Specifically right here. Didn't break. Are they gonna break? Oh, fucking genius. 2,500. That's fucking right. Doing real well, I think. In hindsight, we were lucky ones. Miles and Eugene got us real down. A lot of things going on here. Shown. Battle hard, swordswoman, loud as stamina. Okay. Which means she's going this way, isn't she? Wait, where are they? Oh, they're here. Okay. God, what a mess. We need to trigger this, and we need to trigger this. And that's that. We just need to build a bridge here. I think that's it. Right? Sure. Oh, right, I got a program. Okay. You are gonna go down. And then this way. Then you're gonna activate. And go this way. And keep going this way. And you're going up. And then you're gonna go this way, build a bridge. Then you're gonna go up. And you're gonna go right. And you're gonna go up again. You're gonna go this way, clear out these guys. This way, clear out these guys. This way, clear out these guys. This way again. This way. This might be too many. I have faith. I guess we'll see. And then she goes this way. She goes back down. Goes this way. Goes back down. Goes this way. Goes down. Goes right. Goes right. To the end. And that's pretty much it. You. You're gonna go this way. Then you're gonna go. And then you're gonna throw this here. I think. Then you're gonna go back. And you're gonna go forth. And then I think you're gonna go down. And then, sure, we'll just see how it works. You're going to do much the same. Except you're only going to go back and forth a couple times. Let's see what happens. She died. Fuck. You know what I think he needs to do? Where did I have him throw him before? Oh, I didn't. Yeah, I think we go there. Drag all of these over there. And go that way. And then you, once you go down, you should go this way first. I gotta repath all this now. Go this way. Keep going this way. And then you gotta turn back. And go this way. Go this way. And yep. And then once you get back here, you go this way again. You go up. You go across. And then we're good. Okay. Also, gotta build this bridge. Classic. Will that hold? Oh my god, it will. Okay, let's see if I time this right. Fuck. I totally forgot about that. I think I send her up first instead. Oh, this is so difficult. Can't even clear. Okay. Instead, you go this way. And then you go this way. Oh, I don't know. There's so much, like, work. I just want a building one. Give me a building one. We're next to the last thing, though. I think I'm done. I'm so tired. I don't know why I'm so tired. But I am. It's just been playing like random like Persona and Yakuza. My brain is just not working. I do not know why. But yeah, I'm gonna call it. How long was streaming? Hold on. 2:43. Okay, very much a shorter stream on shorter stream than average. But I did do like a 6.5 hour stream last night until 2 a.m. Maybe that's why I'm tired. But it was still a good stream, I think. The Apex shit really kind of fucked with us. Otherwise, I think we would have been playing a lot longer. Streaming a lot longer, I mean. I'm just gonna get as low as I possibly can. So, tomorrow, probably not gonna stream. It's my sister's birthday. And there's a Celtics game. Sorry. So, sorry to leave you with a, kind of shorter stream. Until, I guess, the 26th. But, you know, I'm sure you'll manage. If you want more of me, if you're desperately craving more of my sultry tones and, mediocre gameplay, go to my YouTube channel. I got VODs there. VODs of all sorts of things. All my previous streams from January of this year, I think. Man, has it really only been January of this year? No shot. Hold on. My brain's being fucked with. Hold on. Channel analytics. April, March, February. Holy shit. Yeah. So there have been previous stints where I've streamed a little bit, like, you know, going back to like, hold on, what's my earliest stream? January 22nd. No, it was earlier. Must be earlier. I'm thinking like 2019 or 18. We're going. Oh, I think my earliest streams were June 1st and 2nd of 2019. And then there was nothing for like a year or two. Until I streamed another 2 days, January 22nd and 23rd of 2021. And then I streamed for like a week, a solid like week's worth of streams. Towards the end of March of 2021. And then like one stream here or there. And then there was a big ass drought. And then a couple streams in like September of 2021. And then when January hit. Nope, sorry, February hit. Nope, sorry, March hit is when I started streaming regularly with an occasional like 2 week break, week or two break. Oh man, looking at, hold on, let me see if I can show this. Yeah, that. Looking at this, like, this is like, you know, the week before. Clearly there's a big gap, but that's okay. This is March. This is just looks so sparse because the tail end of this right here and this was when my internet was fucked up, and this was a trip, and then this is now. Oh, only 31 hours streamed. 70 in this month. Almost 50 in here. Damn, man. 70 hours a month. With an average of 2.5 viewers. That's probably not smart. But that's okay. I still have fun, you know? I can get rid of this now. Anyway. I can go to channel analytics. Sweet. Oh, I do want to remove this, yes. Okay, there we go. Okay, as far as what the next stream will be, if you have a suggestion, please, I'm begging you. I'm so open to ideas. I'm like like something that's open a lot, please leave them in the suggestion box in my channel about page. Seriously. I'd love to hear what people want to see. It doesn't have to be video games too. It could be really anything. It could be fucking, it could be crosswords, it could be GeoGuessr, it could be like anything. It could be chess, I don't know. I don't know what you want to see. But oh, let me get out of The Walking Dead. How do I exit out of here? Oh, this button. Leave the game, yes. Yes, I would like to leave the game. Man, it takes forever to load. Oh, let me give you your your daily checkup on the Epic Game Store. I'll let you know what you can get for free. I think it's still gonna be the same game, Borderlands 3. You should get it. Seriously. Why do I shell for fucking Epic Games so much? Why am I why am I like so like you should really get this? Like, yeah, you should get it. It's a free fucking game, but like I don't know why I'm pushing it so much. I guess I just want people to take opportunities, take advantage of the opportunity. But I don't know why I care so much about that. Should I get Void Bastards? Sorry, I'm like all of a sudden I have like 3 different things on my mind. Yeah, I don't know why I shill for that so much. I don't mean to. Next subject. Void Bastards. Fun little game. It's like cel shaded, kind of cool. I started playing it on Xbox. It was on the Game Pass. It left the Game Pass. I was very sad about it. I was considering buying it. It's on sale on Epic. 50% off. Do I get it? I have a coupon for that does... How much does it give me? 25%. If I... Hold on. If I add it to my cart... Hello? Add to cart. Come on, I believe in you. Bro, what is going on? This sale's long. This sale's going on for like a month. Okay, I don't know why this isn't working. I'm sorry. I don't know why I'm apologizing to you. It's my fucking... You can't even see it. Okay. Time to wrap it up, Ben. Come on. I'm just getting my music up for the ending. My last video is ranked. It's my top ranked video for views. In the first 17 hours, it's got the most views I've gotten in my past 10 videos. That's crazy. It's not, I mean, I'm not going to say the amount of views because it's not a lot of views. But it's like more than I normally get. Like 3 times more. Which I guess will just tell you, I mean, you can just see my views. I don't know why I'm being cagey about it, but yeah. It's doing well, strangely. Should I cross stream to YouTube? Maybe I'll investigate that. Maybe that'll be good. Cause one, won't have to fucking... Oh, you know what? But there's so much involved with fucking YouTube streaming. One, the content ID system is totally different. So there goes all my music pretty much. Like, it's been a long time since I've gotten a thing on my video screen on Twitch that says like audio muted. Long time. Every video that I put out that has music in it, any kind of music, on YouTube, all copyright claimed. It's like a totally different system. And yeah, as you know, I go out of my way to, you know, I have custom playlists, and I go out of my way to try and find music that's not gonna be copywritten. Copyright struck. Yeah, struck by copyright. I should play GeoGuessr more. Maybe I'll do a GeoGuessr stream on the 26th. That sounds good. That does sound good. Thanks, Ben. Thanks for agreeing. Okay, I gotta wrap this up. My back's hurting me. Where is my music? Okay, folks. It's been good. What's this one? Oh no, this one was the one that I liked, I think. We're just going through my starred stuff on. Okay, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Sorry for keeping you. I'm not keeping you. Why did I say that? I'm not keeping you. I'm not like, wait. Hand on your shoulder. You're fucking watching a live stream. I have nothing to apologize for. I just don't know why I'm still talking. I don't know why I'm still like going. It's been like 5 minutes since I said I was gonna wrap up stream, so I'm gonna wrap up stream. I promise. It takes so long for me to, all the time. I don't know why. I like hearing my own fucking voice or something. Okay, I'll catch you all the 26th, barring anything else, or barring me being far too tired, or barring the temperature being far too hot to stream. I'm going to try and get Apex sorted out so we can start streaming that too. I miss Apex. And other than that, I have nothing to say. I hope you all have a nice weekend? Fuck. Week. It's Tuesday. I hope you all have a nice week. I hope you all have a nice night. Or whenever you're watching this, I don't know, maybe you're watching the VOD. Check out my YouTube channel. I'll catch you all another time. Bye-bye.